Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon with another edition of Every Rocket Stove in the World, or basically basic principles and guidelines of a rocket stove. And what you see here is an upside down J-Tube rocket stove in the making. Now, one thing, basic principle of rocket stove is your intake, your fuel port should be the same diameter, same number of square inches as your exhaust port. And this is right here, not too bad, evenly matched up. At the top it's even better. They're about 4 inches, both of them are 4 inches, but this one needs to be taken out a little bit. That one needs to be taken out quite a bit. And the flame may even that out, and I might just let it go. I'm going to see what I can do with this. I can cut or chip across here, but that's heartwood right there where the cracks are. That's very, very hard wood. So I'm going to see what I can do with a Sawzall, and then also a circular saw. See if I can take that out a little bit. I need to get this cleaned out through here so that there's a free passage of air through there. That has to happen. I got it on this big huge rock here. I could put it on the ground, which I may do. I may put it on the ground. I want to have it where I can watch it burn and film it from the porch here. So basically what you want to get in your head on rocket stoves is that your fuel port has to be the same square inches as your chimney. Okay. Same idea with the Dakota fire hole. Understand that. Look at I've got playlists, 2 or 3 or 4 maybe playlists on Dakota fire hole, rocket stoves, and what I call a rocket stove, because you can use the earth as a thermal mass and sleep on it. You could be in a cardboard box and be warm and toasty at night. So I'm serious. And you can build a little shelter out in the woods and be sleeping on warm ground. You don't have to be cold ever. You need a shovel, some combustible materials, and a fire source. And you can build yourself a nice little shelter and a heating source. So I'm going to get to work on this. I don't have a tripod or anything, so I can't film it as I'm doing it. So I'm going to just do a little bit, pause it or end it, and then what I'm going to do is pause this here and then turn it upright and show you what it looks like from the way it would be in operation, when it's in operation. So, okay, I'll get a good screenshot there. I'm trying to remember to hold it long enough in a video so I can pause it. So I'm going to get a perfect screenshot, but I'm in the process of moving. Okay. That thing is heavy. I cannot pick it up. I have to leverage it. I walked it up into the front floor of the golf cart to get it over here, and then I used leverage to get it up here. So okay, so you see that your fuel port's going to be on the right there, the shorter intake place, and then that's the exhaust port, and that's where the flames will be coming out. And once this is running, it should be fairly smokeless. That's one of the things about rocket stoves. One guy, he makes coffee or tea in his office with a little tiny rocket stove. It doesn't put off enough smoke for anybody to even smell it or notice that he's doing it. So you see here, that's about 4-inch diameter. That's necking down to 3, but this is 4-inch, necking down to, what was it, about 3.5 down there. So, but that's the idea. That's one of the basic principles. Intake, same square inches as your exhaust. Turn the torch on. It doesn't do much, does it? Not. So I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to try to get into all kinds of conniptions trying to get that leveled out, or this either. I'm going to chisel them off from the bottom when I turn it back over. And this is a handle, so that's as much little wood as that is. It's still very solid. I can't break it off or kick it. I tried. So that's good leverage. So I'm glad I didn't break it off, because that's enough leverage to manhandle this thing around. Okay, so get a good view from here. I'll probably end up doing a screenshot of the burning operation, and not for this video because I won't even have it run in this video. Okay, I'm going to stop this one, pause it. So, okay, this is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. Stay warm in the winter. Stay alive through the winter. It was hard this winter, very hard. Just to get one load of wood in the deep snow and the extreme cold from that shed down here in my aero cart, my Works, capital W-O-R-X, capital W, capital O, capital R, capital X, Works aero cart. Those things are phenomenal. greatest reinvention of the wheel. They say don't reinvent the wheel. Well, they did. And it's the greatest reinvention of the wheel since sliced bread, I don't know, since the wheel. So, but just to get from there down here was totally exhausting. And 4 days my son came by, because I don't think I would have survived. I don't think I would have made it. My heart was just not up to it. It just wore me out to get one load of wood from there down here, slugging it through the snow, pulling it, dragging it up the ramp and into the house. So, okay, so stay warm. Now on the subject, that subject, I want to say, let me tell a story for spiritual encouragement. There was a farmer who was lived out not too far out of town, and he hadn't been going to church, so the pastor came by to visit him. The pastor knocked. The man made a cup of coffee. They would always, if he ever came by, they had a cup of coffee. So he had made him a cup of coffee, and he sat there. And the pastor never said a single word. He just went over to the stove, the fireplace, and he took some tongs and he grabbed a coal, picked up a coal with it, and set it on the mantle, the stone mantle of the fireplace. And they just sat there. And the pastor never said you need to come to church or anything. But while they sat there, the coal died. And when the coal died, the pastor left, and the man went back to church. Point is, if you're not having fellowship with other believers, you're gonna burn out and die. Your spiritual is gonna suffer for it. Okay, eventually it's gonna get colder and colder and colder, and that's what's happening. Too many people are not having fellowship. They're not praying. They're not getting together. They're not. It says to, gathering themselves together, all the more so as you see the time of the Lord approaching, the day of the Lord approaching. So we're supposed to be fellowshipping more and more, not less and less. And I see less and less and more evil coming in, more and more distractions and things. So, and mental, just, you got to have stick to it, keep going. That's what I'm doing. It's been very, very difficult, very, very mentally and emotionally. But I want to say another thing on the subject of mental and emotional. Yeah. The other day, I was walking up the hill right about where you see toward the greenhouse, and I was praying as I was walking, and I said, Lord, I am not better than my fathers. I am tired. I'm discouraged, and I would just as soon go home. If you want to take me home, if I'm not accomplishing anything, and there's no reason for me to be here on earth, then just take me home, Father. And because I don't see anything happening from my vision. I had a vision. I've worked for 20 years to see that vision fulfilled, to see the kingdom of God come to pass on this earth. And I'm not seeing much happen. And what I see is selfishness and greed and anger and hatred and division and strife and envy and all the bad things. I don't see any that much in the way of good things. And so I prayed, and what I prayed too was I sensed that the one person I wanted to talk to was my son-in-law. And it was either that day or the next day he came by to visit me. And he had, he told me about some Amazon store and vitamins and stuff, and he brought me a box of vitamins. And so it was very, very encouraging. I think when he was here the time before, I'd given him $20, and he came by with a huge box of vitamins for me out of his personal stash. So it was very encouraging. And I wanted to talk to him. Specifically, I wanted to talk to him, and he showed up the next day. So I didn't really lift me at the time, although it was very encouraging. And I realized, okay, I prayed, and I got an answer to prayer. So that's mentally and emotionally encouraging. And I need to just stick with what I'm doing. So I'm back on doing rocket stoves. I'm going to do a bunch of different ones. I've got the little one that I did a demo of. I'm going to fire that one up and show you how that works. And it works really good. I fired up last night in the house inside the wood stove. It was really cool. Flickering, watch the flickering flame. The glass, through the glass. So anyway, that's about it. So mental, emotional, and physical. Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. Make plans, take steps to stay warm and have shelter. This is critical. Elemental. I'm going to use that word elemental. The basics. What are elements? They're the things that which you can't strip them down anymore other than blowing them up, There's an old poem that says, "To smash the simple atom was all mankind's intent. Now any day the atom may return the compliment." So that was from Rowan Martin's Laugh In. Artie, the little German guy. Anyway, elemental, very basic things. You need to have with you the things you need to, provide shelter and heat and warmth and cover and food and water. So, and it's going to get brutal. It's going to get very brutal in this country. I'm just telling you now. If you don't think I'm right, if you think I'm blowing smoke, you think I'm crying wolf. No, I'm not. And the moral of the story is that if you cry wolf and you ignore the little kid crying wolf, someday he's going to be right. Ignore all the chicken little, someday the sky is going to be falling. So that's about it. Okay, well, I'm going to let it go here. Thank you. God bless everyone. Bye-bye. This is Jerry Diamond. If you're listening to this, you are the remnant. I can set this on the stove, maybe, or on a banister, possibly. I don't know. I need to do